And now, broadcasting from Titletown, USA, here's Joe Simon.
All right, here we go. Today we're talking about Roth 401ks and their little cousin, the Roth IRA. And one little tidbit that has come up as we continue to discuss what should we do in this tax question, this jump ball that we're looking at right now as we are in a couple of months into the year of 2025. And the question continues, will taxes go up, stay the same, or go down? And taxes have never been greater than they are right now in a sort of favorable way. So maybe we take the bridge from tax deferred money in our old IRAs and our 401k and convert it, paying taxes, and move it into a Roth 401k environment or a Roth IRA environment. Of course, there's no limitations in most cases when you do that with that money. Earnings of new money is a different story, which you need to talk to your personal advisor about. But today, what we want to focus in on is a little known thing called a qualified Roth 401k. Let's underline that, the word qualified, because that's been tossed around in our industry as a standard term for many, many years. An example would be an IRA as a qualified, your money there is qualified money. A Roth IRA, qualified money. A 401k, qualified money. But the Secure Act 2.0 came along a few years ago and sort of redesigned, redefined the term qualified. And here's what we want to know. If your money's sitting in your Roth 401k isn't 5 years old or older, it's not considered qualified to make a move to another plan. For example, moving it out of your old employer's plan into a personally owned Roth IRA. That's the cleanest example we can give you. So it's important that we understand this. Many people want to consider moving money out of what tax Roth and IRA guru CPA Ed Slott would call infected tax savings or retirement savings. Tax infected money, I think, is what he calls it, because if it's in a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k, it's been put on hold. You've gotten a deferral up front, but you're going to have to pay the taxes when you start to pull it out in the end. So that's what I think he means when he says tax infected. It's kind of a nifty little thing that sticks with you. So then we turn the page and go back to this Roth IRA, Roth 401k subject, and specifically the Roth 401k. We want to make sure it's 5 years or older, so it truly is fitting into today's term of a qualified Roth 401k. You can make that move without taxes and penalties if you want to into a personally owned Roth IRA. Why would you want to do that? There's various reasons why. A lot of people just like to feel they have more control over the decisions of what they're doing with that money, more of a personal conversation with the advisor that is assisting them in that, their financial or insurance advisor. But there are three or four things we want to make sure of while we pack the bags for that Roth 401k to take a trip across the bridge to a Roth IRA. Number one, we want to make sure we get a hold of the plan document. You can do that by either speaking with the former employer's HR department or the third party administrator, preferably electronically. The electronic version, the e-version of that plan document would be best, because that's going to be about a half-inch thick document that outlines everything that your old plan says you can do with that money, etc. If your advisor isn't asking for that, I would put a yellow flag on that. That's sort of the manual to what you can and can't do with that money in that plan. And the plan can dictate those sorts of things as outlined in that plan document. Number two, we want to get a hold of that most recent statement uh, from that former employer's plan. Typically, the former employer or the plan administrator can help us do that. Typically, that can also be found online. Your advisor is going to want to take a look at that. And here's the big one, lessons learned a long time ago. So there's lots of paperwork involved. You've now found a home for this old Roth 401k money, and we want to transfer it to a new Roth IRA that you personally own. Very exciting. You're packing the bags and getting ready for that trip across the bridge from old to new. But what we want to make sure of is, besides the new forms that you're going to have to complete for its new home, and your advisor helps you with that, you want to make sure you have their forms too, the old plans forms too, because what typically happens is everybody gets excited about filling out the new plan documents, and you send it off to the old plan, and they send you a nice letter in the U.S. mail that arrives 2 to 3 weeks later, and it says, "Dear sir, ma'am, you need to contact us because we have our forms we need you to complete, and we would most likely want to do that by talking to you first on the phone." And all we want, if your advice is great advice and you're working with a beneficially smart individual that knows exactly what they're doing for you, this sort of gets in the way in some cases and delays what you really want to do. That's up to you, and every case is different. But the point I'm trying to make here at this moment is make sure you get a hold of their forms too, the old plan, and exactly how they want those filled out. Your advisor can assist you on that. But what the when the day is done, there's two sets of forms, their forms and the new forms, and make sure you complete all of them around the same time to make sure that the trip across the bridge from the old plan to the new plan is as complete as possible. So the walkaways for today is, we want to make sure that our Roth 401k money is qualified 5 years or older, gives us the crown to call it a qualified Roth 401k. If it's not, that doesn't prohibit you from moving that money anyway as you planned on it, but just know you're going to pay a 10% penalty on that money regardless of your age. And here's another thing. So one sort of footnote we want to make to the whole story is this helps this one move, and that is creating a Roth IRA account for yourself with some possibly older Roth IRA money that you already had, because that also has a 5-year birth date on it as well. And if you ever wanted to move that money freely for whatever reasons, they also look at the age of that personally owned Roth IRA. So it's something you want to plan out in advance if that's possible, and always seek personal advice. And wow, what a conversation we had today. There's so much more we can talk about. You can contact me always. You'll get my email at the end, or seek personal tax advice with your advisors because they'll know best as you have that conversation. Every case is always different. Have a prosperous day.
You've been listening to the Joe Simon Podcast. Big ideas with powerful stories and real-time solutions. Business succession planning, executive benefits, employee benefits, tax beneficial savings, and more. Remember, information discussed here today is dated and not specific to your situation. Always seek personal counsel from qualified advisors. For more about Joe Simon, go to DaVinciInsurance.com. Joe Simon is a licensed insurance agent in the state of Wisconsin. Licensed to advise on accident and health, life insurance, disability insurance, and annuities, as well as qualified long-term care insurance. Make sure to visit the DaVinciInsurance.com archives for more of our podcasts.